Hey guys, uh, this is Marine here. I just wanted to share something on salaries and what we can consider a TO salary, something that we explored with my startup in last 2 weeks. I'll share my screen, I have some slides, and I'll go slowly and talk about it. So, in terms of salary, something that we have wondered is how can we make it to be fair, but also how how it can integrate different ideas and stages of development, so it can be really TO. Um, and we explored like different components of the salary, like what consists of salary and what are some qualities of the salaries in different companies. And of course, the first thing we saw in TO companies is something that I believe should be always there. It should like these salaries should be transparent. Sometimes companies like Buffer, for example, showed their salaries even to the outside world. So not only showing the numbers to each other in the company, but also to the outside world. And uh, in order for self-management to work, I think that's a requirement. Otherwise, people cannot really make the best decisions in any given moment. So, yeah, I think transparency is the first and biggest component that should be present in how we determine salaries. So the next thing we saw is huge number of companies uh, base their salaries on the role factor, basically what you'll be doing in a company. So are you going to be a developer? Are you going to be an accountant? So based on that, um, most companies determine what your base salary will be. And in terms of integral theory, like that's kind of orange, very orange component that most orange people will identify with. So something that was very interesting with us is our startup is consists of 11 people right now, and most of the people, or some of the people are I would consider orange. Some of them are green. Some of them are teal. So it was really interesting to explore what each person considers fair and kind of reach an agreement where I believe we kind of came up with the conclusion that you should integrate all components together to kind of make it fair for everyone. But I'll go through that. So the role for us was something that's I would consider orange, and most orange people will say, "Well, that's a huge part. Yeah, you should reward people based on their abilities." Then most green people said, "Well, yeah, but what about dependent care or cost of living and or stuff like that?" Which some companies add to their salaries. And most green people will identify with. So we said, okay, so if we want to be TO, we should add that as well and integrate it in the formula that we make our salaries with. So we added a small portion for dependent care. And then some companies reward employees for the time they spent with the company. Usually that's some percentage added bonus for every year that the employee spent with the company. So for example, something that's normal is every year you get a 3 to 5% increase. And that's, again, in terms of integral theory, that's very Amber component or quality, belonging to the group, time spent with the group, loyalty. These things are Amber. So in terms of Teal, then we should integrate it again. Like we should look at all these components together in integral fashion. Another very orange component that we found was peer review, or peer review in terms of self-management, because you don't really have someone to review you yearly, but in self-managed companies that's done through peer reviews. Like Valve, for example, is a game company it's not TO. I wouldn't say it's TO, but at least it has a flat, non-hierarchical structure. And they have, as part of their salaries, something that they do yearly as they call it peer stacking or peer reviews. And that's also very orange idea. How do you compare to your peers? Like, how are you performing? Are you achieving? So yes, in terms of integral, that's orange. Some companies do cost of living adjustment, which is a green idea. How do you compensate people for having to pay more for their rent, for example? Because at the end of the day, the salary should be more or less equal for everyone. At least in our view, that was fair. But depending on where you live, a big portion of your salary might go to expenses that everyone pays, like rent, for example. And we explored different companies where they compensate for that difference, and that only comes in play if the company is distributed, like what we are trying to do. If it's based somewhere in one place or one country, then it might not be a big deal. But for us, because everyone works from anywhere in the world, that's a big difference. So San Francisco compared to Sofia, Bulgaria, for example, it was very different price adjustment. So all the different components will be valued differently depending on the people in the startup. Like we really saw that the orange people will say, no, you only should count the row and the peer reviews. The rest doesn't matter. The green people say, no, but the row doesn't really matter. We should be all equal. So you could really see like how people react to these components, and I had to explain them that in order to really push for TO, we need to get all of these, mash them together with different strength and percentage, and create something that works for our startup. And the way we did it is we went through all the components we identified that are important in some way or another, and we voted on them with I'm not sure where that method comes from. Some people said it comes from sociocracy, where you vote on how much resistance you have. So basically, we voted on the raw part and said, okay, how much do you disagree that should be part of the salary, with a percent from 0 to 100, for example. And then we went through all of them and kind of created a formula that works for us. And again, that will be based on the people that are in your company, I believe, because the orange people will push more to the raw and peer review factor. The green will push more for the dependent care, cost of living, and other green values. We don't have any amber thinking people, fortunately, but I felt that's kind of fair to make it even more integrated. So we added time with the company percent adjustment. And here is what we kind of ended up with. So 40% raw, 25% cost of living, 5% loyalty, 20% seniority. That's at the beginning we started thinking, okay, do we really need to make peer reviews? Some people said yes, some people said no. So for now, we are kind of dropping it. We are not using it in our startup, but we have a seniority, which is again very orange idea. Basically, rewarding them differently based on their experience. And then we have 10% of for dependent care. And I just wanted to share it because for 2 weeks we have like really worked on how to make that happen. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. I will post that on Facebook, on our Facebook group, and yeah, we can comment it when we meet next Monday. Thank you.